All right, this is Laravel DFW for October 2014. So I'm Tanner Hearn, and I'm here with Osvaldo. He's going to be talking with us about Lexicon. I think it's going to be really great. And so, just like we do every month, we'll kind of do this typical format of have the speaker speak, give the talk, and then talk about maybe some of the occurrences that are happening in the Laravel community right now, and then we'll end it with some question and answer. So again, if you need to ask a question during any time during the talk, or if you have any questions about Laravel in general, just go to laraveldfw.com/ask. So that's laraveldfw.com/ask. So we should be good to go. Actually, let me throw that up there. Yeah, laraveldfw.com/ask. So just go there and you will be able to ask a question for Osvaldo or for me or for anybody else. So there's been a lot happening. We have Laravel 5 being announced as kind of the new version, replacing what was Laravel 4.3. There's been some cool stuff kind of going around that release, so it'll be fun to see what happens. I'm sure we'll talk about it next month, since it's being released in November. Yeah, I think that's about it for now. So let me introduce our speaker for the day. So Osvaldo, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, so I currently am working with the PyroCMS team on the new version, PyroCMS 3.0, and also a new platform called Streams Platform. I mainly do open source from home, and so lately I've been writing this new PHP template engine called Lexicon.
Very cool. So you're going to be talking to us about Lexicon today, so I'm pretty excited to hear about it. So we'll just kind of let you roll for a little bit. I'm actually sick this month, so I'm going to turn off my video while you're presenting because I may have to get up.
It's running around.
You, Osvaldo, right?
That cold, yeah, that cold. My family had it, and now I have it.
Yeah, it's not good. I've been feeling weird for a couple of days, and then today it hit me pretty hard. So, okay, cool. Well, yeah. Why don't you take us away, Osvaldo?
Sure, I'm gonna share my screen now. Just a moment.
And remember to ask any questions. laraveldfw.com/ask.
Yep. So Lexicon, another template engine. So many template engines out there. So this is another simple, fast, extensible template engine, and it's compatible with Laravel 5. It can also be used standalone. It's inspired by the Lex parser, which was created way back. I don't remember when, but it was created for PyroCMS. Now a couple of people use it out there, including Atomic CMS. It was rewritten as an object-oriented compiler, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. It has HTML-like tag syntax in the sense that it has tag pairs and HTML-like attributes. PHP tags are encoded for security, so it's kind of restrains you from using PHP in your templates. So I'll show you the basics of using Lexicon, some examples. Then in the last 20 minutes or so, I'll I'll answer some questions. And I'm just brushing on the last few details to release the beta tonight, and also been writing the documentation, so I'll publish that. And the stable release will be out there as soon as Laravel 5 is released. Because it's constantly changing, you know, there's little tweaks here and there. Like for example, I just jumped in the Laravel 5 repository, and Taylor just changed the config that is used to tell Laravel where the compiled views are stored. So I need to update for that. So
Can I ask a question really quick on that? How difficult has it been to stay up to date with as Laravel 5 has changed? Because you started before that was even announced. So
yeah, yeah. I in fact I started in 4.2, and I was trying to make it compatible, cross-compatible with like 4.2, and looking at the changes in 5, but it wasn't possible as soon as I started using the Laravel contracts because they're new. So it's only going to be 5 and up. But other than that, no, the issues have been minimal and easy to tweak and fix. You know, the view engine works the same for the most part. It's just in 4.2, I believe he changed what was called the environment class of the view package to, he calls it now factory. And so you would have to update that. But some changes that other developers would never notice because they don't use these classes directly. They just use, view and pass data to it, just the helper or the API. So just to continue, so many templates, template engines out there. There's Twig, there's, and I was looking at a list in Wikipedia. I was looking, some blogs. They have, 20-something template engines out there. It's like I still ask myself, why the heck did I do this? I was like, couldn't I just use the engine out there? And it was certainly very difficult. I really looked into how other template engines worked, took some ideas from Twig, how Twig compiles its classes, its views, because it does compile views like as classes in a weird way. I won't go into why, because that's out of the scope, but there's plates from the League of Extraordinary Packages, which is mostly like a template engine that's with native PHP. So it's not, they don't change the language. They just a framework for building your templates in PHP, and it works really nicely. We just thought, there's the Laravel view system. We liked it very much, so we thought, why not build it on top of that, since we're trying to have a different syntax from PHP. But there's also I looked into Liquid because one of our members mentioned it. Forget his name. Your coworker, what's his name?
Are you talking about David?
David Hemphill suggested, hey, look into Liquid. I definitely did look into Liquid PHP, especially how it calls variables from the template. We took some ideas from that, and we looked. I was very heavily looking into Blade and the view system and engine for Laravel, and so out of that started to emerge Lexicon, what it is. So some goals: we want to make designers happy. We want to restrain developers and designers from overcomplicating the views, and this is something I am guilty of. I used to make horrible views, like with PHP logic in them and calling classes and methods like crazy. And so when we started building the Streams platform, we wanted to cater to designers also, not just developers. So we thought, we really want theming to be as simple as possible. And one of the ways we want to do this is to restrain people from overcomplicating the view. So we're not letting you do that, because Lexicon won't allow PHP. It will allow just some simple syntax and minimal logic, control logic. The most logic you need to get the job done. So the other thing is security. I certainly hope that escaping PHP from the template is enough, but I'm gonna be looking into other possible vulnerability. I can't even pronounce the word.
Yeah.
Vulnerabilities. Did I say it right? So I'll be talking to some experts in different areas, and even designers. I would like to get some feedback from them to make this engine as awesome as possible. And last but not least, the speed is important. I haven't benchmarked it against other template engines, and I'm certainly not here to say, hey, Lexicon is better than such and such template engine. It's not. It's just Lexicon has different goals, and it's just another tool that's out there. If you like to use it, it's gonna be available for free. So there's that. And so I think the speed is pretty good. It's certainly faster than the Lex parser, and that's why one of the main reasons we wanted to build Lexicon. Actually was considering like keep coding on the Lex parser repository, but as soon as I realized, hey, I want this to be a compiler, I thought, I have to rewrite this from the ground up, because really, like, the Lex parser parse the template with the regex and analyze the data at runtime. So just there, by compiling to PHP and letting the cached view do the job, that's a huge increase in performance just with that. And also, the Lex parser had a little bit of trouble handling objects like model relationships and presenters. It had to convert things to an array to handle them, which wasn't optimal. So Lexicon lets you do that. It just lets objects be objects in their original self, and allows you to design your objects in a way that makes Lexicon react to the object in a very good way, where you get the expected data. So there's restraint, there's the balance of simplicity and power, and we wanted to leverage the Laravel view factory in engines, because really Lexicon is just another engine, and so if you want, you're able to keep using Blade views. In fact, it includes the whole Illuminate view package as the base PHP engine, because Lexicon itself is just, let's say, like a Lexer, and it compiles to PHP, and that PHP is Illuminate view mostly. It does other additional PHP that is specific to Lexicon, like getting variables. It's a bit different. But mostly you won't see that, because that's just the compiled view, and people don't. It's interesting to take a look at the compiled views from time to time, but you don't. So you can just do view, and the view helper in it's new in Laravel 5. Wow, it's dark in here. Let me turn on the light. Be right back, quick.
You have your keyboard light on?
Well, that didn't make a difference, but just a little light.
Yeah.
It's getting dark. All right, so You can just, as usual, use view, pass the data, and what makes a lexicon view lexicon is just ending it with .html is the default extension. You can change that in the config very easily. And the view engine respond in that order. It will HTML will take priority, then Blade, and then PHP. So if you have in the same folder you have a post HTML and then it will use that one. But if you delete it and you have the blade.php, it will start using that. So you can have a total project that you totally designed in Blade, and then start like duplicating those views and changing the whatever, converting it to lexicon if you want. It's up to you. So you install through Composer. I still hope to release tonight. It's just brushing on the last details and documentation, but you'll be able to use packages, Composer, install Anomaly, Lexicon, DevMaster. Probably when it's the stable release, we will have a version number, specified.
Yeah.
For now, dev dash master, and it'll be available on GitHub at Anomaly Labs /lexicon. You can send issues, pull requests there. You know, suggestions, any reactions to how the template works are always welcome. We want to make it as awesome as possible. So hopefully people out there start trying it out and let me know how it goes. So the syntax, pretty simple. You can do tags, simple tags, tag pair that you close in a similar manner to HTML tags. It's just curly braces, double curly braces. And there's HTML-like attributes, named attributes. Attribute equals value in between quotes. You were gonna say something?
No, I was just saying, yeah.
Okay. So there's also ordered attributes, and in the Lex parser there was only named attributes. We decided to incorporate ordered attributes because in some cases it just looked nice to do similar things. Like in Blade, you just do ExtendLayout, or the name of the layout. But if we would only have named attributes, you would have to do extends_layout equals and the name of the layout, which is a bit longer, and this allows you to shorten. If especially if you just have one attribute, is really good because it makes it readable. If you need to specify the names, you can. So Lexicon can get nested array data. So we have some sample data here: hero, villain, and some nested array, first name, last name, and you will get it something like this. This hero would output Superman, and villain first name, and you get the idea. Pretty simple. There's many template engines out there do similar things like this. So nothing new here. So this might be a bit different than other. I haven't seen. There might be out there. I mean, so many. I don't have time to look at all of them. But this is pretty unique. Is that you can just loop through a collection of books, and the variables inside that context are an item's property. So in this case,
That's cool.
Yeah. So in this case, it would be the each book's title. So I realized at this point, the old version, the Lex parser, did this. I definitely wanted to support this, but sometimes you want it to make it more readable. In the case that you have more variables, so maybe you had some variables that collided that almost were named the same, so you wanted to make it more explicit, you can do it just by doing books as book, and just start the context item with a dot book dot title. So starting your tag name with the dot means that you're grabbing the nearest item, uh, because then there's this. This is another situation you might run into where you have a collection of libraries and a collection, and for each library you have a collection of books, and you certainly can do this. The first title will be from each library, right? So each library title, and then within the books, each book title, and that's fine. But that can get, confusing, maybe.
Right.
So you can make it more readable just by doing libraries as library. And if you happen to need to access an item from a distant context, you can, and in that case, you do .library.title, and so the first title will be for the book, and the second, obviously, and you can even specify for the book if you wanted to. Just for this example, I wanted to show it that way. So at this point, we can see it can loop through a collection or iterator aggregate object, and it can get array access object properties, and eloquent relations. We had to make an adjustment for eloquent relations because you can't really check if an eloquent relation property is set before returning it. It will always return false. If you check for, let's say you have post author, you do is set author is gonna be false always, even if it has, because if you didn't eager load the relation, it's gonna return null, at that point. If you do an is set, it's hard to explain. You'll have to go into the model, the eloquent model class, to understand why exactly. But we made an adjustment that lets you get check for the relation and get it. And basically, it checks that the relation class. It returns a relation class and then runs the property that runs the magic get attribute. Gets it. It does that magical stuff to get the relation results.
Mm.
So differences between Lexicon and Blade, and this is, again, I purposely didn't do Lexicon versus Blade because this is not really saying, hey, this is better than Blade. It's just another engine that does stuff differently.
Yeah, I think this will be helpful for people to really understand. So that's cool.
Right. So that's the main purpose. I just wanted to, for people out there that are using PHP or Blade at the moment with Laravel, to understand Lexicon by looking at the comparison. So no PHP in Lexicon. That's one of the things, and so no dollar signs for the properties. And really, Blade accepts any PHP expression between the tags. So if you write bad PHP, you'll get an exception. In Blade, if the name variable doesn't exist, you're gonna get an exception. But in Lexicon, if it doesn't exist, you're just gonna get null. And if you write a PHP expression between the tags, it's not gonna even run. So it's done on purpose for restraint. So at some point I expect people to say, hey, this template engine is so limited. Well, we did it like that purposely. So access variables with dot notation, and you can see the difference here. User.name versus in Blade, user variable property from
Mm.
the object. And user, let's suppose that user was an array and that name was just a key in an array. That goes to show that Lexicon treats objects and arrays very in a similar fashion so that designers don't have to think, hey, is this an object, or hey, is this an array?
Right.
Dot notation. So that was one of the goals there.
That's very cool.
So no method syntax in Lexicon. And at some point we felt tempted to use the same Blade directives as Blade has, like, extends that begins with the at symbol. But we didn't because it had method syntax, which is basically a method that takes an argument between parentheses. It's no biggie, but because it really can call methods. It's just that the syntax is not there. In that case, datetime.now would be like a plugin where datetime is the class. It's like a wrapper class for the datetime class, and now is a method. So it can call methods. It's just that it doesn't have the method syntax. So it can do the simple control structures, the same that the Lex parser can do. And I just have this example, but it can do a bit more. It can do, if, foo, and, logical operators, and, if 5 is less than 10, all that stuff it can do. I just didn't put everything here. All that will be documented in detail. So
Sure.
some Blade equivalent directives. You can see here extends layout from Blade. There's an equivalent in Lexicon. Extends layout is just between double curly braces and double quotes. And in Lexicon, you can do single quotes too if you wanted to. It's just for consistency because we're trying to sort of mimic HTML and your template. We use double quotes, but you're free to use single quotes if you want to. And so you have, for every single Blade directive in Lexicon, there is the equivalent. There's section, there's stop, everything is in there. I might have forgotten a few, like each, render each in Blade, but I will add it, everything will be there. So here's an example where you can parse a string template, and you just call the view helper. The view helper, if I'm not mistaken, it returns the view factory class. And so you're calling parse on the Lexicon version of the factory, which illuminates view factory. So it can do the same things. It's just it added parse as an easy way to parse a string from a view, and it also compiles to PHP. So you'll get that output. Hello, Mr. Anderson. And so you can potentially store templates in the database easily and just pass that and use that. Oh, I was just about to add a slide for configuration, but just didn't get to that.
Right.
So
You've been working on kind of connecting into with the new Laravel stuff, right?
yeah, it does use Laravel type configuration, um, and you can do PHP artisan publish and just customize it, and that will be documented. I will show you an example here. So extending lexicon is very easy. There's two ways. There's plugin tags and node tags. And plugin tags can get process and output data at runtime. So here's an example how you add a plugin tag in your config file within the plugins key. For example, you add post, and it's like this is post is an alias for that plugin class, so that when you call it on your template, it's post latest, and latest would be a method in that plugin, and limit would be an attribute. And so you can also iterate through that, you know, and get title in the loop if that is a property within your results. So this is an example plugin. So post extends Anomaly Lexicon plugin, and this is a method that you can call from template. This is how you get attributes. Pretty simple. Almost the same as the Lex parser as you could do. So here I'm just calling post repository, get latest posts, and the limit. And that's just an example. I mean, so many things you can do with that. You can even return, a whole view, HTML, if you wanted to, because Lexicon can handle, different data types. Mm-hmm. You were gonna say?
Sorry, I was just responding to what you were saying. Yeah.
It always sounds like you're gonna ask something.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. I just am actively listening.
No biggie, no biggie. So here you can see, the anatomy of a plugin tag is the alias, the method, attribute, and those can be multiple attributes, as many as you like, and you can get them in your plugin. So node tags, I mean, you're mostly gonna want to use plugin tags because they are the easiest. Node tags are more involved, and those are the ones that I use to actually compile the PHP. So you define your regex and how the PHP is going to be compiled. And this is very similar to how Blade does its compiling, but it's just, in Blade is simpler because it's just one file that has methods, that allows you to create matchers, And there's a very good documentation on that on the Laravel docs. So it's just that in Lexicon it's a bit more object-oriented, where for each match you have an object that represents that match instead of just the method. So here's an example, section yield. Pretty easy to understand, I think. So you define your regex and then how it compiles. There's a very nice method called compile attribute value, which allows you to easily compile the attributes into source, and then you return whatever PHP you want to compile. And the PHP tags, whatever you return gets automatically surrounded in the PHP tag. So you just return the echo and whatever. And so documentation will be available in the lexicon.anomaly.is. It's still not published, so you'll visit there. It's gonna give you 4 forward, but pretty soon I'll send you a message and I'll announce it on Twitter, and you'll be able to include Lexicon in your composer and start using it and look at the docs.
Very cool.
So, any questions?
Yeah, so I think I have a couple. So I guess you were just saying in order to install Lexicon, this may be one of the basic questions, but in
Yeah.
order to install Lexicon, I would just pull it in with Composer, and then whenever I have things in my view directory, um, it will automatically read .html over any other extension.
Yes. To answer that, it basically is another template engine. Blade is one of the engines that come included in Laravel, but I'm just adding another one that responds to the HTML extension. So if you drop any view that you drop that ends in .html, it will just use it.
Okay. So, okay, then another one. What do you think the hardest or most difficult piece was in setting up Lexicon, developing?
Well, it's pretty easy. I mean, it's just as easy as including uh, the requiring it in your composer, and once it's installed, you just start creating views, and it's just a matter of getting accustomed to the syntax, and after a day or two of playing with it, you're gonna feel comfortable. If you look at the documentation, fairly easy.
Sure. So, my question was more centered around for you developing Lexicon. What was the
Oh, you mean as like extending it?
um yeah, well just as you've been building it, what was the hardest thing to
Oh,
crack?
sorry, I misunderstood the question. Um, wow, I have to say one of the most challenging things was when I began testing it, because I gotta say I've never tested a package before. Uh, I think there's many developers out there that still don't do unit testing. I was one of them, so I wanted to start. I said, I want this package to be solid, so I think starting unit testing is a huge step to have really good code and stable code.
Sure.
So as soon as I started testing, I started with PHP unit, and then I tried PHP spec, and I just love PHP spec. So I started changing all the tests. I rewrote. I like halfway of testing, I rewrote everything all the
Wow.
time in PHP spec. But from then on, I started refactoring a lot of stuff that I didn't like. Recoding and recoding. It just took me like a whole week
Right.
to redo, but the code is that much more solid, so it was worth it. So that was one of the huge challenges, and not only did it improve the code, but now I feel very comfortable using PHP spec for testing, and it's certainly going to be faster for the next project I build.
Right. Very cool. So let me see what questions we have in here. Um, oh hey Stuart. Stuart just jumped in here with us, so that's cool. Maybe he has a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask one really quick. So if someone is already using Blade, what, I guess, what kind of migration would they need to do if they wanted to try out Lexicon or convert fully to Lexicon?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I can show you right now an example. Let me just, I'm just gonna share my screen. I'm gonna switch from the slides to my screen.
Uh-huh.
Your screen, okay. Do you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So I have here, I have my views. I have sort of like a blog. Uh, just an example I built because I didn't find any Laravel 5 compatible blog systems out there yet. So let's take this. This is Blade. Very simple. And it's just post title, post summary, and getting a author relationship full name. And so I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna refactor, copy. I'm gonna copy it, duplicate it as .html right there. So it's here. I'm just gonna edit this, and I have to change. Let's see if I can do some. Dot, and I remove the dollar signs,
Uh-huh.
and just in this case remove the method syntax here, and we're done. I'm just gonna show you on the browser. So here it is, and I use refresh, and there it is. So just to prove it, I'm just gonna write something here with the template. Reload. Here we go, Lexicon.
Cool.
So as easy as that.
Very.
An example of for each, right? We still don't have, well, we have it here, actually. I already did this one. So it's comparing, this is Blade, and this is the Lexicon version. I'm just doing post. I don't even have to specify the item. I don't have to do for each or as post. I just do posts in a, plural, and in the slash post, and then I can reference the title for each post and get the category relationship and the title, and pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna visit. I think I have it in the. Here it is,
Mm.
Lexicon. And basically, also I can show you an example of layouts. So I have Blade layout. There's a yield include, a couple of yields there, and the Lexicon version yield title in between, double quotes include. So it's very easy to get, it's just a slight difference in syntax,
Yeah.
and with the additional features that Lexicon brings. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does. It answers the question. So, Stuart, do you have any questions while you're in here?
Yeah, I got in here a little late, but what or is with the double brackets, is there escaping happening, or is there? I don't know. You might have already mentioned that, but
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good question. You mean if it escapes variables by default, like Laravel 5 does now?
right.
Yes, it does. I think, Taylor Aldwell made that decision. I mean, maybe along with their group, and I think it's a good practice to escape all variables by default. You can unescape. One thing I did not like, and I think many people will agree with me, is that you have to, in Blade, you have to do something like this to unescape,
Yeah.
var. But in Lexicon, you do the inverse. You do triple quotes. I mean, triple
Gotcha.
curly braces. It's just, slight differences in syntax. It's not a big deal. I think it's pretty easy to unescape this way. And, the Blade version of unescaping is good too. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just so you have an idea of how it compiles, take a look here. Storage. It's a bit ugly actually. Yes, they're all hashed, so not sure which one was from the views I edited. Come on, what's this? Oh, it's in framework. So here it is. Just looking for it. So this was compiled from Lexicon. It actually compiles to a class and a hash. I won't go into why, but it's a pretty good reason to do it. Maybe in another video where I'm probably will work on a video specifically for extending Lexicon, so that everyone, all developers, can learn the advanced features and understand the inner workings of Lexicon.
Yeah.
So when you load pages, is it loading from those compiled versions?
Yeah, so it's actually
Okay.
can be, it does basically the same thing that Blade does. It compiles. It's actually using the Laravel view system to compile its views the same way Blade does. So here's an example.
Okay.
It's escaping the variables by the compiling, with the E method.
Wait, so Blade doesn't actually like compile on the fly, or does it?
Yes, it does. It's just once if a view hasn't changed, it doesn't have a reason to recompile. It's when it expires when you modify a template, it detects that it has been modified, so it recompiles. But if you don't change the template, it will just serve the cached one, the compiled.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, looking at how the Laravel view system works internally. Even though you don't really have to look at that stuff. Nobody cares. They just want to use Blade how it is, and that's perfectly fine. You just want to get the job done, and that's it.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool.
Though
Well,
I don't know if you guys have been using Laravel 5 much at all. Have
That,
you?
I've looked at it a little bit.
Yeah. I'm like rebuilding something in it, but I'm definitely having some problems. So there's still definitely some. Obviously, it's not released, so it's not stable. But
yeah,
I'm like, I just want it already.
yeah. I won't recommend like building a production project on it. I would definitely recommend people playing around with it and maybe starting something in development that eventually will be in production. But you know it's constantly changing, little details here and there, because it's still improving.
Yeah, absolutely. So is Lexicon work fully in Laravel 5?
Oh, definitely. I mean,
Cool.
uh, right now it's what you're seeing right now is on Laravel 5.
Oh, cool.
It's just that I can't release a stable version until Laravel releases its stable version.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Uh,
you'll be able to use, like download Laravel 5 right now, the development, and the beta version of Lexicon and start playing with it, like, maybe tomorrow, because I have to publish that tonight.
yeah. So if someone was like to come up to you and basically say, uh, or if you had to convince someone of the reasons to use Lexicon over Blade, like what would be your like main?
Main reasons,
Yeah.
the first that comes to mind, because really Blade is really good, that you almost have, there's little reason, but if you have a project where you have to store templates in the database, you know, because Blade allows PHP expressions to go through without any restraint, you can potentially introduce, vulnerabilities in your applications. But if you want a more secure templates, if you want users to modify, let's say you have like email templates in your application that users modify from the database. So that's a good reason to use Lexicon.
Mm.
Yeah.
Una meeting. Sí, voy. Yeah. Excuse me.
Cool. Well, I
Cool.
think
You were
that's
saying, I'm sorry, I got interrupted.
oh yeah. Well, that's very cool. So
You
so
know,
it'll ship tonight, kind of the beta, and then whenever Laravel 5 releases, you'll release the stable version then.
yeah. The thing is that we needed, for the new Streams platform, we needed, an improved version of Lex. So that's the main reason we did it, because it's basically our template engine. Uh, so I'm not expecting Lexicon to be, the next super popular template engine either. It's just, if you have a project and then you like the syntax, because you just have to try it. It's just I personally, and this is not, I don't expect people to go, oh, he said Twig sucks. It doesn't. Twig is really awesome, but there are certain things I don't like about the Twig syntax that I think are too. Uh, it looks too PHP like, or it's just maybe too programmatic looking for designers.
Right.
But that's just my opinion. I mean, that's we certainly consider using Twig in our system, because hell, who wants to code a whole template engine? I almost went crazy doing this.
I bet.
We really wanted to, like, an improved version of Lex, because Lex syntax is pretty it's just the HTML-like syntax of it, that
Right.
and the named attributes, and the restraint, you can't overcomplicate the view with Lexicon. It won't allow you. So those are good reasons to use it.
Sure.
Yeah. Is there a reason that you went with the HTML extension rather than creating your own, or like how Blade does it, where it's like blade.php or something like that?
Oh, it's trying to mimic, uh, sort of HTML, just a little bit, and because it's not PHP, so we didn't want
Right.
to give users or designers the false impression that they're using PHP. It's not, it doesn't. That's why we chose HTML, and we consider other extensions like TPL, Lex. It just sounds. We wanted something friendly. Uh, HTML was very familiar, so that's why we used it.
Yeah. Cool.
We've gotten some really good questions. I'm really really excited to answer these questions.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely awesome to have new stuff being produced that tries to answer, different dilemmas. So, um, okay, well, I think so. I haven't received any other questions. If anybody has one, shoot it in. Um, did you have any kind of closing remarks, Osvaldo?
Well, certainly, please Lexicon and try. It's going to be part of the Streams platform and PyroCMS 3.0, and that will give you sort of like a preview, a taste of what's to come. Certainly, I'm going to be releasing video tutorials to show different aspects of Lexicon, and if you find any issues, you're welcome to post them on GitHub. And that's it. I do like it.
So you have Lexicasts?
Did I say? What?
So you're gonna come up with some Lexicasts?
Maybe. Yeah. Sorta. Laracast is a very high bar. Definitely does a very good job with those. I'm subscribed. I have the unlimited subscription, and it's
Nice.
totally worth it.
It is.
I've learned so much from him. Even me starting using PHP spec because of his video. I looked at that as, wow, that's awesome.
That's great.
Certainly changed the way I develop.
Yeah, I mean, even just like learning terminology, like I don't know, like dependency injection. Like I mean, obviously that comes up like everywhere, but like stuff like that, you wouldn't necessarily. I mean, you might get it off of like the documentation now with like the method-specific dependency injection in Laravel 5, but like before, a lot of stuff you wouldn't necessarily like come across if you.
Method injection is so awesome in Laravel 5. I can't stop using it.
I know. I actually didn't like think. I was like, oh, like I guess that's kind of cool. Like, I mean, I guess I could do it inside of that, but like it's so much nicer.
Yeah, it makes it more testable. Your code.
Yeah.
Testing the dependency, and certainly, in regards to testing, it was very painful at first. You certainly begin to see what code is untestable, and it's good because you stop doing that. The quality of your coding increases because you stop writing untestable code. And this PHP spec trains you and forces you to test everything in isolation. So it sort of encourages you to design your objects better.
Cool.
So,
yeah.
I really recommend it.
Well, so let me kind of say a couple of things before we go. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. So, actually I'm at Stover site. But let me jump over here. So this is LaravelDFW.com. I just wanted to go over two things. The first is that over here there's a resources button. Well, first of all, you can see what's going on, and you can RSVP, which you should for next month. And then resources are right here, and there's a bunch of stuff. This has been here for a while, but I haven't ever announced it. But obviously, go to the website, get the docs, Laracast, Laravel.io, Larajobs, and then some books that are there. So just go find that, and then here's also some Twitter accounts to follow and just learn more. I need to put Laravel news on here. That would be good. But I wanted to give one shout out to Larajobs, just because we're a partner with them, one of the community meetup supporters. So here we are down there. But There's other community meetups that are down here. You can also find a lot of other, you can find cool partners that work with Layer jobs. But it's a great place if you're looking to hire a Laravel developer, or if you need to find a position somewhere, you're just looking for some place to get connected to use Laravel, and you don't right now at your current place and you want to look, whatever. So anyways, just some things to think about. So with that, I think that's pretty much the end of everything. Do you guys have anything else that you want to cover before we jet? Well, cool. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for Laravel DFW for October, and we will see you in November. There's some exciting things coming up that I hope to announce soon, and it'll be really cool to do some awesome stuff at the end of the year. So have a safe Halloween, I guess, because Halloween's coming up. So, all right, see you
Good luck,
guys.
guys.
Bye.
Take it easy.